Katie Jo is an artist. She's a mother. She's a wood carver. She's a she's one of those people that can absolutely do anything, and so it's a little bit irritating to some of us who work really hard to be able to do those same things. Everything in her life comes really, really natural to her, and what I respect most about Katie Jo is that her passion is in connecting humanity, is in connecting people and bringing people together for the betterment of mankind. And so it's my great privilege to introduce Katie Jo.
Thank you. As a young child in America, in Utah, USA, I was very young, and I remember sitting on my beautiful orange flowered sofa with my gold shag carpet in the living room, and it was Christmas time, it was winter time, and in America, we put up these trees. And the trees have lights and decorations, and they have ornaments, and they have all of these beautiful decorations. It was late, I was sleepy, and as I sat there, I looked at the tree, which was still and very beautiful. And as I watched the tree, I began to see as it began to move. It began to move like waves on the water. And I saw the lights on the tree, and they began to shimmer. What I didn't know at the time was I was seeing sound. Now, a tree decorated with lights doesn't necessarily make sound. But what happened over my childhood and then into my adulthood is at first when I was tired, or I would say the mind was relaxed, I began to see that everything in the world has a wave, has a movement, has a signature pattern. As an adult now and as a young adult, I then began to learn to relax my mind and step into that place of recognizing that everything is sound, even though I couldn't hear it with my ears. So a chair has a different signature or frequency than a human. Everything in our world looks solid. Everything looks as it looks. My hair, my body, the floor, the carpet, these chairs, this table. What looks hard is not. It's actually a dense pattern. It's a pattern of molecules that are vibrating or have a frequency that expresses itself as wood, as a physical reality. So, everything in the world is just patterns. So, disease has a pattern, health has a pattern, thoughts have a pattern, everything has a pattern. So, if I take myself completely out of wrong and right and I stop looking at the color of somebody's skin or what they're telling me they believe or politics, and I just tap into the movement, the frequency. Some people call it feelings, but it's deeper than that. It's actually more scientific than that. If I tap into the frequency of a culture and feel how that feels, if I tap into the frequency of a memory or a childhood experience and feel that, it affects me. We are energetic creatures. We all speak and feel sound and frequency. The same way you walk into a haunted house and feel it. The frequency is there. The same way that I walk into a church or cathedral or mosque, it doesn't matter, where many holy actions have taken place, where many people have given their hearts to God there, and I feel peace. The same way that I can walk into the forest and feel often more holy, more peace, and more sanctuary there. In fact, nature has a frequency known as 528 hertz, which is the same frequency of unconditional love in the human field. The reason I'm speaking to you about sound is because as drum circle, which is what I'm known for, it began as a sound healer. It began as using sound to work on cancer patients, to flood the body with frequency, and to shift. If you take nothing from today, take these points. Everything is sound. Everything is frequency. Frequency is shapes and patterns. And these same shapes and patterns mirror image the growth of the embryonic cell of our DNA, of our very basic anatomic structure. So if we take sound and patterns and flood the system, you can shift the pattern. So if I know the pattern or frequency of water, I can apply it to the frequency here and it can change. I know that sounds crazy. But in Russia, they found the sound patterns and duplicated many times, taking the frog embryonic cell and changing it into a salamander through nothing more than sound. In human bodies, they're taking sound and frequency, and without cutting open the skin, they're focusing sound waves on organs and repairing it to healthy systems. Now, let's see, can we switch to the other PowerPoint? I know you're so, this is an amazing lady. And do the next slide. This image here shows the Sri Yantra, which is the Om Mandala, which has existed for thousands and thousands of years. About 30 years ago, the tonoscope, a scientific instrument, listened to the sound of Om, and they were shocked to find that the sound creates shapes, and the shape it created was the Sri Yantra. How did they know thousands of years ago what that sound created? I don't know, but they did. The reason this applies to drum circle, the reason this surpasses cultural differences, is because we gather in our different frequencies. We gather as a circle of different tribes, different religions, different ages, different body shapes, different everything, which is a different frequency. But if we step into frequency unified with intention, we can shift reality. We can have somebody stand together who wouldn't stand together otherwise. Drum circle doesn't care about what you look like, about what you believe. I've traveled the world teaching people that everything is energy, painting drums, assisting people in learning how to create their own drums, which is really the art of stepping into conscious creation, unified with one another. Go to the other slideshow. You're wonderful. The shapes that just popped up, those were, and you can just start flipping through slides slowly. These are some of the paintings and images that we have from what I've been doing. I've been commissioned by people from all over the world to create paintings on the drums. I am an artist. I was invited because of what we're doing with the drums, because people gathering in backyards, what started as 5 people is now over hundreds and hundreds of people gathering together. And what I find, just like Chief Joseph of the American Indian tribe, so as we gather together and stand together and listen to that frequency, we echo out across the planet. We echo out together. We can can shift reality. And it's not so much about trying to change another person, it's about being the frequency. We talk about being the change. Be the frequency. Be the frequency of love. Be the frequency of change. Ignore everything about a human soul except for the frequency they show up in. It's not gender, it's not culture, it's nothing except the frequency they show up in. And then step into your frequency. Let your frequency be love, peace, and unity. I'd like to turn the time over to Spencer Meeson to talk a little bit about how this applies to his passion. He serves on the board of the Statue of Responsibility. It's a statue over 300 feet tall. The statue is borders, across cultures, across nations, across the waters, to stand for the world as an emblem of connection and frequency.
Thank you. So yes, one of my passions is the statue, but before we go there, I want to go back to drum circle just for a second and talk about what Katie Jo spoke about, the frequency of drum circle. See, I don't know why the first time I showed up at a drum circle, why I connected to that and why I wanted to come back. But what I know now is from that drum circle that started with 10 or 12 people in someone's backyard to the drum circles we do now of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, I understand the science of why I want to go back. You see, if what Katie says is true and the frequency is changed by the drum, then what drum circle does is it takes all of the people that are in a circle or in a space, no matter their background, no matter their belief system, no matter their politics. We could take all the people at drum circle and have a political conversation, and it would be a bloodbath. Do you get that? But because we drum, the frequency of the people in the space is aligned to peace. And so it doesn't matter my political beliefs or my religious beliefs or anything. We all connect in that space and in that circle. That, my friends, is power. And to me, what the Statue of Responsibility represents is the connection of humanity. And so I wear this statue around my neck, and I know that there's a slide of it somewhere. But what it represents is two hands clasped. So you may be familiar with a Holocaust survivor named Viktor Frankl, and he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And the book is about his time in a concentration camp, in a Nazi concentration camp as a Jew. And he came out of the concentration camp and he wrote the book in a very short time. And in the book, he talks about the Statue of Liberty, and he talks about liberty only being part of the puzzle.